Hello and welcome. Right around the corner is the North Carolina Folk Festival, as I like to call it, the Greensboro Folk Festival, but no, it's the North Carolina Folk Festival, and who better to tell us about that than Amy Grossman, President and CEO of the North Carolina Folk Festival. Amy, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, this event, when did this start, 2015?
2015 was the first folk festival in Greensboro.
It seemed like just yesterday Greensboro was making the announcement, and Tom Fillion was standing up there, and what a wonderful thing this has been for our fair city of Greensboro.
Of this incredible news, if you haven't figured it out by now, I'll just go ahead and say it. Greensboro is going to host the National Folk Festival 2015, 16, 17, right here in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Yeah, I think, those first 3 years, we accomplished exactly what we wanted to when the National Folk Festival was in residency here in Greensboro, seeded our ability to transition and launch into the North Carolina Folk Festival in 2018.
And I guess that's the beauty of the National Folk Festival, is to plant that seed and have that ambition to have the people be like, ooh, we should keep doing this. This is good. These are good things.
Well, I will just interject here. The reason is because they've had such great artists come in, and the presentation is, people got used to it, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And that's due to you.
Well, it's due to me and a really incredibly helpful and generous network of local musicians who offer their suggestions and their thoughts. I have a network of colleagues across the country who keep me up to date on, who's doing what out there in the performance world, and then there's the more professional aspect of networking that any event producer does. Those relationships with agents and other folks across the country. So it's a combination. It really does take a village. It takes a very large community to do this, and we're working on it year round and just nurturing those relationships year round.
I was thinking, as you were saying that, I was wondering, what you listen to, or what you, how you go about this. What are you listening to in your car and when you're at home to try and foster these
And
ideas?
we'll know when you're lying, so go ahead.
Well, I'll say, if I'm trying to relax, I will actually not listen to folk and traditional music because that's what I do every single day, and and for work. But yeah, honestly, I'll be honest. I'm a child of the '80s. I listen to a lot of pop music on my own. It just makes me happy. It helps me unwind, and that's a lot of what I listen to. And then sometimes I just throw on Apple Music and just figure out what's, just put on a playlist and learn something new.
Absolutely. Well, it's funny. We run into Amy in the parking deck. We run into her coming into the Cultural Arts Center. And I got to tell you, I don't know when she sleeps, because she's either here or between somewhere in here year round. So it's
right now she's between two firms.
She's between the oranges.
Right.
She's got two phones.
I know.
So she's got two phones.
I don't know any of you out there know this. She has two phones.
Yeah.
So I don't know which phone
revealed myself this morning.
is the A-list to get on which phone, but we're going to find out at the end of this.
Do you have a I'm just asking, I asked this to Zach the other day, and that's what's fresh in my mind. Do you have a cutoff, like when you're just done, when you go into you're done? How many hours a day does this take up of your life? I can imagine this is an exhausting endeavor.
It's, these 3 days, it takes an entire year to plan for this. And I would say for the majority of the year, me and my staff, we work a normal 9 to 5 work day. But it's, in July and August when the hours get a lot longer. And it's just by necessity. That's the nature of doing events. They're very time consuming. There's a lot of detail. There are a lot of I's to dot and T's to cross. A lot of communications need to go out, a lot of logistics to coordinate. So this time of year, it does turn into much longer days. And sometimes it does interrupt the sleep at night. But, I've been I know. Well, and that's the thing. I've been doing this for, a couple of decades now. And, or at least I have learned, how to just, take care of myself through that.
Good.
And that's really important, so that, you learn how to manage the stress and the pressure of it.
Yeah. Well, I will say, and I have been to the folk festivals that ever since they started. And, you know, they just keep getting better. So kudos to you on that. Tell us what you've got lined up for this year and the dates, and so we can get that out there.
Yeah, so the festival is the weekend after Labor Day. That has been our pattern since we started in 2015. So this year's dates are September 8, 9, and 10. And excuse me, what people can expect is a festival site that looks similar to last year. You know, we've got our 4 main anchor stages where there will be performances all weekend. In addition to that, one thing that we started last year that was really well received, and we're so excited to bring it back, is our Center City Jams.
Yes.
So in Center City Park, we have a tented area. We're going to have a few instruments. We're going to have jams. Audience members are welcome to bring their instruments and join in some of the music making. One of the changes that we are doing this year is the LeBauer Park will be our family area. We wanted to activate that a little bit differently this year. And so the stage that had been in LeBauer is going to move into the Van Dyke performance space this year.
Okay.
But we're also still going to have dance workshops that we've done in the past. Those will be in one of the studios in the Cultural Center. So there's going to be a lot that people can enjoy and they'll recognize from years prior. One new thing that we're doing during the festival this year, brand new, is a 5K. So on Sunday morning, September 10th, folks can sign up to do it's run/walk, either way. There were some members of some local run groups who were looking for a way to convene the different running groups around an event and a cause that they could all get behind. And so they reached out to us and said, hey, could we do a 5K with the Folk Festival? And we said, yeah, this is so great. That's what we're about, is about convening community. You know, yes, it's about the stage performances. Yes, it's about the food, but it's also about the vibe and the spirit of community that you create among neighbors and strangers at an event like that. So that's something we think about a lot in how we lay out the festival, how we choose what's going to be part of the festival, and a 5K is a great way to do that, to convene people around a common interest.
Wow.
You know, and the proceeds from that 5K are supporting the Folk Festival.
Excellent.
Yeah, there's a lot of run groups in town, and I didn't realize this until I did a story on the Little Brother beer run group. And there's a lot of, every one of those breweries downtown has their own little run group, and I didn't know that. They were telling me that, like, you could run with a run group almost every day of the week, and so.
Different styles, different paces, different surfaces. Yeah, I learned the same thing. And that's actually why on Saturday, the 5K is going to start at 10 a.m. We're actually going to start performances earlier than we previously have at 11 a.m. So there's a really nice segue into the festival. So all those runners can stick around, enjoy a beer, get some food, and we're going straight into performances Sunday morning.
Wow.
And is registration still open for that?
It is, and yeah, folks can go to our website, ncfolkfestival.com, and there are links there to the 5K, and registration will be open through Saturday, the 9th. And people can sign up on site too. We'll have a booth there for people to do that. So yeah, all are welcome.
This is what's so amazing. There's so many things that go on in Greensboro, but the ones that keep it fresh are the ones that go forever. And this is a good example of keeping it fresh.
Yeah, well, I think in anyone who has perhaps been, I don't want to say hesitant, anyone who recognizes that adaptation and change is a good thing,
Yep.
Certainly if they didn't believe it before the pandemic, I sure hope they believe it now.
Boy, howdy.
Well, John and I had a lot of fun last year, and you talked about this. What made me think of it was you talked about that vibe and the atmosphere that is created throughout the folk festival. John and I had so much fun just going up and harassing people. Well, not harassing, but you know, we interviewed a lot of people when we were out there, and just people that we knew, people that we didn't know, people just from out of town. Volunteers, whoever we could find. We put a camera and a microphone.
It's amazing.
Ask them random questions, but everybody had a ball.
Oh yeah,
doing
they're
it.
so
Like,
happy.
there was no pressure. You know, other than most people don't really want to be on camera, but everybody was just so chill. Like everybody was so relaxed.
Yeah. The thing I remember the most were the people that were like, okay, how do I get to this stage from here? You know, and that's when it became, you realize they were really into it.
And we were right next to the information booth, so people thought we were the information booth. Like,
So they came to us.
You were then.
But the one thing I remember that'll always stick out is we would see people we had no clue who they were. And the very first couple we interviewed, they were from somewhere down east. They had already booked 2 nights at the Marriott, and they were going to be here for the duration. And they didn't come to see just one person. They said, we love music festivals, and this is one of our favorites. So, you know, ka-ching for Greensboro, you know.
Absolutely. I love hearing that because, you know, I think there are a lot of people, you know, people who are just music festival fans. There are other people who just love Greensboro. But being in a space where you can, maybe you're drawn in by familiar sounds that you already know, but there are people like that who are just curious. So people who come with that curiosity to learn a little bit more, perhaps about a different musical tradition than they've been exposed to before. That's what makes this event, in my mind, really special, and one thing that I really try to amplify in what we're doing. Because it's an opportunity not only for people to come together, but to come together and experience something new and find new connections through that new thing, that newness.
Now, did the Folk Festival bring you to Greensboro? Is that how you migrated here?
So yes, that is
Okay.
the short answer to the story. I do have a background doing festivals and in fact working on the National Folk Festival in other cities in the U.S. So I did that, you know, back in the early 2000s in Richmond, Virginia, Bangor, Maine, Lowell, Massachusetts. Well, I didn't do the national in Lowell, Massachusetts, and East Lansing, Michigan.
Wow.
So I worked on the festival there. I had moved on to some other things. But when I found out that Greensboro was selected to be the host of the National, and they were looking for someone to hire someone local here, I was at a point in my life, I was looking for a change, and I thought, you know what, I love this. I loved what I read about Greensboro when I visited Greensboro, and it just, everything aligned, and I
a
moved
great
here
place.
for it, yeah.
Yeah. We're lucky we got you.
Well, thank you.
You also have your Ethno USA, a collaborative of young musicians.
That is another very new thing this year, Ethno USA. So Ethno is an international musical exchange program. The organization that hosts this and created Ethno is based in Brussels, in Belgium. And it started about 30 years ago. And so what they do is they convene young musicians in a space, international people from all over the world in a space. And the whole idea is to get them in a space and to share and exchange music and teach each other music from their home country. And so Ethno exists in 40 different countries across the world. And we are the only location of Ethno in the United States. They very much want to grow that. But what we're going to expect this year is about 30 to 40 young musicians from across the globe, including the U.S., there will of course be U.S. participants as well, are going to come to Greensboro about a week before the festival, and they're just going to spend 3 or 4 days together workshopping music. What they brought with them from their home community, they're going to teach each other. They're also going to go out to Guilford County Public Schools and teach some of the students some of their songs. Those students will be invited to join Ethno USA on stage at the festival on Saturday. They're also going to be doing those performances at the festival. Those are the main things they're going to do on Friday and on Saturday. You will see the culmination of all that work and that collaboration that they've done earlier in the week as they've been workshopping together. It's incredibly exciting.
That is amazing. You know, and I thought by bringing up what are you doing to make it fresh, I'd get one thing, you know. But this is amazing. I mean, it's like it's reinvented every year. Well, who will be headlining this year? Is there a...
So Ethno USA is a really big deal, and we're definitely trying to emphasize that a lot, because again, the one thing that I will also just follow up to say about Ethno is, and one reason why when they approached us about coming to the North Carolina Folk Festival, I thought this is the perfect fit, not just for the festival, but for Greensboro.
Yes, yes.
Greensboro is such an international community.
Oh boy.
You know, that, and you both know, as the gate city, you know, it's like all roads, all rails, everything goes through Greensboro, and what better place to just keep amplifying that we are a convening place for people across the globe. And so having those musicians here will be, incredibly exciting. Some of the other musicians who are going to be capping off our performances over the weekend, one is Layla Michaela. She's an incredible musician based in New Orleans right now, Haitian American. She's really, really wonderful. And we're going to have a special, in addition to her stage performances, we're going to have on Sunday, a session, a one-on-one conversation with her about her music and the research that she's done into Radio Haiti. Those archives of Radio Haiti are at Duke University, and so she tapped into that to inform some of her music. But in addition to that, we've got a group coming from Colombia called Cimarron. They play música llanera, which is music from the plains. They're
Of course, you knew that.
Yes, incredibly vibrant group. I've worked with them before, and I'm really glad that we were able to coincide our dates with them being in the U.S. again.
Wow.
So that's going to be a really exciting one. We've got a musician who was born and raised in Greensboro, Rick Robertson Band. Rick Robertson, he spent time in New Orleans. He spent time in a lot of places. He performs with a lot of different artists, and we're incredibly excited to have him here headlining his own group with his own music. So he's going to be doing that. Another one is Cedric Watson. That's another one that a lot of people know. Cedric comes out of that Louisiana Bayou Creole music, kind of Zydeco Cajun. It's a real mix of what Cedric does. So that'll be another high energy one that people can dance to.
Wow.
And there's a lot more. There's a lot more. People just need to go to the website ncfolkfestival.com, and we've got all of them listed at this point.
Wow.
Yep.
It's just amazing.
There's always a lot of high energy dancing too.
Oh, yeah.
Multiple stages. So.
There are, and I will say, since the very first year, there are people from our community who I see in the audience every single year.
Yes.
And they're the ones I can predict are going to be out there dancing, and I love seeing that. It's been so great to see that and to connect with those folks as well.
Well, I will tell you, last year there were so many people looking for the A&T drum line. And
Yeah.
I mean, that was exciting. And to see them on a big stage or in multiple areas, it was very confirming about our community as far as what we're about.
Oh, for sure. And this year we'll have the A&T Jazz Ensemble performing on Friday night. So we're excited about that.
Wow.
And the stages, I will say you probably are going to end up doing a lot of walking if you haven't been here before, because the stages are somewhat spread out, but every one of them is just, even the walk is just so wonderful to see everybody out.
Yeah, and we fill those spaces in between. There are opportunities to grab a bite to eat, to sit down in a park, in Center City Park. There's lots of booths. A lot of our supporters are going to have ways for people to engage, get giveaways, coupons, all kinds of stuff. And then, of course, we've got our Makers Marketplace, which is our crafts marketplace along Market Street. So we have a juried selection of crafts artists who are going to be selling their handmade items over the course of the weekend. So there's a little bit of something for everyone, even in those in-between spaces.
I always spend money when I go,
Good.
I love how people say, oh, it doesn't cost to go to the festival. Well, when I go home, I look in the billfold and it did. But I bought some really nice things.
Well, and those businesses appreciate your patronage there.
And the food, I mean,
That's right.
the smell of the food downtown, that's always that's a winner.
Yeah.
Just when you go downtown, you smell those open grills, the food trucks. That's part of it.
That's right. That's right.
Can you tell me about what the economic impact of this is around the area?
So the festival, the last time we did an economic impact study, what we estimated was that in direct expenditures, the festival had an economic impact of about $6 million. Which, what that accounts for is, as you mentioned, we're free admission, so we don't have a way to measure the tickets.
Right.
There's no ticket revenue. But in surveys that we do, we collect a lot of information about, from people about how they spend money beyond that, since we don't charge them that. On food, people spend money on gas, to get here. They spend money on childcare, if, depending on who they are, whether or not they bring their children in. And so we do have a lot of information that talks about, on average, how many people, how much people spend on average outside of that. And that's where they're spending their money. They're also spending it at downtown restaurants and the shops. And we encourage them, we point people in our wayfinding to go down Elm Street, check out everything that's down there. And then like you said, there's some other things that, are difficult to measure, but people spending money at hotels. There are people who are traveling here.
Yeah.
To do
That is the truth of last year. The very first two people we even went to the camera and microphone with, they immediately said, "Oh, we're not from here, but we love it up here at the festival." And it's like they'd already booked 2 nights, and that was just the first two.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
We're very fortunate to have you, to have the festival, and will the stages all be in the same place they were last year?
Yes.
Okay.
Except for the LeBauer stage, which is moving right into the Van Dyke performance space, so it's right nearby. But the LeBauer Park will still be activated with the family area.
Okay.
Yep.
And you also have, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this or not, or we did, the African Drum Workshop.
Yes. On Friday night. So that's part of our Center City Jams. So Atiba Rory, who is a local musician and educator, is going to be leading that. So yeah, people can come in and join in. And following that, one other new thing that we're doing this year is there's an open mic. Because not everyone wants to come in and join a big group performing. They might just want to get in front of the microphone and do their own tune. So we actually have another local musician, Maddie Sheets, who's going to be hosting an open mic session on Friday night in Center City Park.
And you have volunteer opportunities still? Can people still?
Yes, we could not do this festival without the support of our volunteers. We have over 500 volunteers. Last year, in total, their contributed volunteer hours were about 2,000 hours to the festival, which is hugely impactful. So yes, we are absolutely recruiting volunteers, and especially in the areas of our information and first aid booths. And first aid, they don't have to do CPR, they just need to hand out some Band-Aids, and anything above that will get elevated to either the EMS folks that are on site at the festival. But our information booths and our bucket brigade, again, we're free admission, but we really do rely on that financial support of people's generosity and giving cash to the bucket. There's text to give. People can donate online. Lots of ways to support the festival through volunteerism and financially.
And you get a cool T-shirt out of it too.
Yeah.
That's right.
I
You get a
still
cool
sleep in
T-shirt.
mine.
That's right. A cool T-shirt from being a volunteer.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah. That I will say this too, that I helped with the bucket brigade last year at a few of the stages. And the most interesting thing is the stages where they are so well received, standing ovations and that kind of thing for a group, they're so easy to hit up. Because frankly, I just go off script and say, look, you enjoyed it that much, you would have paid X number of dollars to have seen this. Come on. Loosen up that wallet. And it was so funny because it was like you see them start laughing and they go, okay. And then if it's a husband and wife team or just a couple, they want, somebody's nudging the other one, go ahead, put something in the bucket. So.
And you get a sticker for that too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But that was a lot of fun. We had so much fun covering it last year. I know you can't do anything about the weather.
Nope.
Although
no control over that.
But there are people that think you can do most anything, but I know the time of year that this occurs in. Could always be a hurricane come in offshore.
Yep.
We could always have that low pressure move in, and so. How has that been dealt with in the past?
Well, first and foremost, the way everything is positioned on the festival site is planned with weather in mind. So down to the exact placement of stages in the parking lot, like our city stage. Yeah. It is designed to be able to withstand some light rain. So we encourage people to come out. Just bring your umbrella, wear your rain jacket, as long as the performance space is safe for the performer, then the show will go on. And that's exactly what we did last year. I think even though on Saturday there was a little bit of rain, I think all but one performance was able to go on as planned. And so we encourage people to come out. You know, we're still going to do it. Now, if things do get elevated, we do have an emergency plan, and we'll just probably, especially in the case of rain, just shut things down temporarily. We'll make an announcement, but then we'll get right back up as soon as that rain clears. And then for, you know, we also have a lot of folks monitoring just broader weather systems coming in. When we will completely shut down is if lightning is coming. And then we, again, also have a plan to, you know, just give instructions to people on what to do in that situation. But we work very closely with GPD, GFD, and Guilford County EMS on all of that.
And this is why you should trust her. Last year, we asked to have our tent in a certain position, and the rain came, and we had a river running through because we were right there in the storm drain, the guttering.
And that's the thing. Like, we know that rain's going to happen. Just let it do its thing. It's gonna. It'll just keep going. You know.
You're not going to melt like the Wicked Witch.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we got our 1 minute key. Thank you, David. You got one more thing. The one more thing I haven't mentioned, as Lieutenant Colombo would say. One more thing. A 50-50 raffle.
Yeah.
And that's about all I got for that.
Yeah, so that, I mean, that's another way, you know, depending on how people want to support the festival, you know, we also have a 50-50 raffle, and you can link to that from our website at ncfolkfestival.com. And, you know, the idea is there's a whole pot, and at the end of it, when we close it on Monday, September 11th, half of that pot will go to the winner and half will come to the festival.
Well, cool. Well,
And if you're a good citizen, you'll say, take my half too.
That's up to the citizen.
Yeah.
Well, that's about it. September 8th, 9th, 10th, right here in downtown, all over downtown. Spreads a little bit on the outskirts. Looking forward to it. All kinds of performances. You can't see it all, right? But thank you so much for being on. This has been a wonderful thing to learn about, and hope you can come out.
And we're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for watching our program.
Thank you so much.